It happened. It finally happened. Disney just announced their plans to reopen Walt Disney World Resort in a month, July 11th, starting with everything. Excuse me, I'm going to be looking down because I have all these notes here from the meeting that just happened here from the Orange County Economic Recovery, Reopen the Economy, Open the Theme Parks, Please I Want to Ride a Roller Coaster team. And a lot has been said. So not only did SeaWorld give their announcements today for their plans for reopening, but Disney did as well. The meeting just ended and the committee both approved for SeaWorld to reopen, but more importantly, they approved for Disney to reopen. So at this point, it's going to get pushed to the mayor, and then it's going to get pushed to the governor for approval. If anything like Universal, it'll probably be approved pretty quickly, which is great. So the reopening plans for Disney start on July 11th.
But that's only going to be for Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. So they're going to be phase opening the parks, which works out kind of well because those parks are both built with multiple ways to get places. There's pathways everywhere. You can actively social distance.
They're wide and open. They're big boys.
They're big boys. And it's not to say that on the 15th, when they open studios and Epcot, that Epcot isn't a big boy, but with all the construction that's been going on there recently, a lot of their larger pathways have actually been really constricted entering into the park. So I think they're probably going to see how it works at Animal Kingdom and at Magic Kingdom first. And then from there, they're probably going to figure out how that entry works for the smaller, more congested points.
But even to get into the parks, you're going to need a reservation. And this is the biggest news today. They announced, Jim Fee on the call announced that they are doing a reservation system for the theme parks. So they didn't really say any ticket types of what reservation you would need, but they said that you would need a reservation to enter the theme parks during their ramp-up phased reopening procedures.
The thing with that, though, is it is very similar to something that Disney already has in place. It's just not here at World. Disneyland has an annual pass that's called the Flex Pass that you kind of have to reserve your day in advance when you're planning to go. And from what we can tell, or from what they said, it sounds like a very similar system, because there you have to go on the Disneyland app, reserve what day you're looking for. There's only a select number of entries for that type of pass in the day, so you could get in or you could not get in, but you require that reservation for your pass to be valid.
And it's great because you will know beforehand if you're going to get into the park or not. Not like today with Disney Springs reopening. The garages, they close parking at 10:30 a.m. Disney Springs opened at 10, the garage is closed at 10:30 a.m. and they're quoting now a 6-hour wait to get into World of Disney. So before you even arrive to Magic Kingdom or Epcot, you will know if you're getting into the park that day, which is awesome. That brings us to a question about Fast Pass, but I'm sure we'll get something announced at a later time about all that.
I kind of have a feeling that they're going to end up going to just Fast Pass queues, because they have to limit their capacity. That's one of the things that has to happen, is they have to limit capacity. And a lot of the attractions at Magic Kingdoms, they are already on the Fast Pass Plus system. So they do have a way of kind of ensuring only a certain number of people are coming in and that they're coming in at a certain time frame. So I think that's what we'll hear, is kind of an expansion on that.
Yeah, maybe even like Disneyland does their Max Pass. They still have Fast Passes, but it's like a virtual system of the old system, which is great for us, everybody else entering the park, because it's fair game for first come, first serve for the day.
Ah, the good old days where you used to be able to run to a kiosk and get a printout.
Yeah, I miss it.
Oh.
Unlike the good old days, though, there will be temperature checks before you enter the parks. Similar to how Disney Springs or City Walk or any of the other locations are doing it right now, you will be scanned for your temperature before entering the park, before even probably bag check at that point. And face masks are required. You will need a face mask. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about this. They also said for, soft openings. Soft openings will be happening starting a few days before the actual 11th opening of Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, quote unquote, for select audiences, as well as cast member previews and affinity members. So probably annual pass holders and friends and family of cast members will be...
Disney Vacation Club members.
That'll be happening for sure.
Talking about affinity groups with Disney Vacation Club.
Some other specific points to note when you re-enter these parks, it is going to be a little bit of a different experience. They have a bunch of signs that they previewed on this meeting that they ask you, please limit handling of the products. They also asked, please don't move chairs. They are specifically spaced for social distancing. I know if you've ever been to, say, outside the Casey's Corner or the Plaza Ice Cream, all those chairs right there, that's going to be wild to see. It's a free game. There's also a bunch of social distancing and hand washing signs, but a lot of them have the verbiage of, help us protect the magic. And that's part of what this is all about. But that magic is going to be a little bit interesting because there's no character meet and greets. They have specifically said that there are no character meet and greets when they reopen. Also, playgrounds will not be available, and anything with a water feature that can bring a crowd. So probably no Casey Jr., Splash and PlayStation.
The splash pads at Epcot.
Dumbo's Q will probably be not utilized because that's an entire play area. They also said, no parades. So no Festival of Fantasy.
I mean, we only have the one parade now, so it's not that big of a deal.
No big loss.
It's not like we're having multiple parades a day.
No. They also said no fireworks and no events that will create crowds, which is interesting. So that means a lot of the entertainment you'll see around like Epcot or say Disney Springs or maybe even Rivers of Light might not be happening at all. Those specifics have not been announced, but for sure, when you go to Magic Kingdom, there's not going to be a daytime parade. There's not going to be fireworks. So that crowding is just, it's not going to happen. Disney's entire approach to this is education, communication, and engagement, mostly pre-arrival. So the idea is that when you're ordering your Magic Bands, they want you to know what's going to be going on here at the theme parks and resorts before you even visit, about how safe they're going to be and extra cleaning procedures, hand sanitizer before and after attractions and entering and exiting buildings, social distancing, plexiglass in certain areas, the same kind of social distancing techniques that you've been seeing at your local neighborhood grocery stores or Target or Walmart, now installed at Disney. So it's going to be a little different, but they're making it safe for you and for us and for everybody.
I think something that's important to note is this is a ramp-up period. This is, sad to say, not the time that you should be traveling across the country to come for that once-in-a-lifetime Disney vacation.
Wait.
This isn't it. That's important to say, because if you are coming and this is your time to be able to do that, just know that the experience is going to be limited. And it has to be, as they're working through all of these processes and procedures, and there's a lot going on. Disney is something like 47 square miles. So when you think of that, when you think of 4 different theme parks, 4 completely different ways that these parks operate, adding in resort hotels, the bus transportation that they have, monorails, the ferry, any kind of options that they have to think of all of those different areas. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, well, Universal also has 3 parks. If we're counting water parks, then Disney has 6 parks. So that's even more. But the other thing that Universal really has an advantage of for a situation like this is they have a singular parking area. They have a singular point of entry for City Walk that'll take you to both theme parks. From those same garages, that is how you access Volcano Bay. So it's a kind of end-all be-all. With Disney, each park is going to create its own entry issues. It's going to create, okay, how are we going to do temperature checks at Epcot versus Magic Kingdom? Are we going to have people at the TTC? Are people going to be coming in on the buses? So they have to have operations from there. When the resort hotels open, are they going to have watercraft from the Grand Floridian or
walkway from Contemporary or anything?
There's so many different access points to any of these theme parks that it's kind of a big deal to figure out where each piece is going, and it's going to be a learning curve. I think that this is something that Universal has done exceedingly well because they're set and adapt to do it. I think it will take Disney longer, and they know that. That's why they're not opening for, a month and a couple days after when Universal plans to open, because it's just, they're very different beasts. A lot of people like to call them competitors, but it's kind of the way with the Orlando theme park world is
what's good for one park is good for everybody. So last year with Disney opening up Galaxy's Edge and Universal opening up Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, they both brought a lot of people to the area. And you're not just coming for Universal, you're going to do a day at Disney. Or you're not just coming for Disney, you're going to do a day at Universal, or vice versa. It's all one big tourist destination, and everybody brings in each other. So with Universal opening first, SeaWorld's close on its tail, and then you're going to have Disney. Fun Spot already reopened, both locations now. So
that was a 30-minute warning.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes.
They're suddenly like, hey, guess what?
We're open.
We're open. What?
Oh, crazy.
Okay.
So even just to wrap up the Disney too, McPhee also said that their idea is to launch, to learn, and to adjust along the way. So what they've said today is not the end game. And they will adjust and they will make operational needs and adjustments and everything else probably on the fly. And they've said this before too with ticketing. I think they announced last week or so that they will be making adjustments on the fly, which is awesome. That's great to hear for Disney. They just mentioned a lot of contactless payments are going to be encouraged. They're also going to encourage you to put cash on a gift card instead of continuing to handle cash. So just toss it on a gift card and do that. They said a lot about Magic Band payments as well. So the resorts should be opening.
They didn't talk about resorts, which is a little odd. But it's again that gray area of where do they fall within the spectrum of things. Because technically hotels are considered essential businesses, so they wouldn't have had to close previously. But again, Disney safety standards, and to ensure that people aren't trying to book a night for just stay at Disney World when there's no way that Disney World is open. There's this balance, so we don't really know what's happening. And I don't think we're going to hear a lot more on that until we get much closer to the date.
Much closer. And then there's the entire potential of the NBA finishing their season, which ESPN talked about too. And that would be happening in July, right along the opening of all this. So stay tuned on that, maybe. Who knows? And then as far as cast members go as well, Disney has said that they are going to be giving reusable masks to cast members. They're going to be doing temperature checks for cast members as well as guests. Same thing before they enter. And then the social distancing team, the awesome recreation team that's at Disney Springs.
Children's activities.
Children's activities. They have their microphones. They're encouraging social distancing. They're out there. They're loving it. They're going to be expanded to all the parks, which is awesome. That's great. I'm so happy. I finally get the biggest thing I want, and I have soft pretzels in the freezer downstairs, but they're not a Mickey pretzel. They're not. And that's all I want. I'm excited.
Don't believe him. That's such BS.
I like Mickey pretzels. Not the cheese. Mickey pretzels, though.
Since when?
Since 5 minutes ago, when I wanted a Mickey pretzel. It's fine.
That makes sense.
This is exciting stuff. It's big. This is Disney. So Disney, SeaWorld, Universal, Fun Spot. We haven't heard anything about Busch Gardens yet. Legoland has submitted that they are reopening as well. So Orlando is going to be back in business just after July 4th. So set off those fireworks at home, like we're going to as well, and then be able to celebrate at Disney a week later, 2 weeks later. July 4th, yeah, I can't do math right now. I'm so excited.
The important thing is to just make sure that if you are traveling or if you are coming, set your expectations correctly. That's important regardless where you're going. If you're going to Fun Spot, if you're going to Universal, if you're going to Disney, this is a time of change for all of these theme parks. It's a time of change for the industry. And it's going to become our new normal. As they continue to process and like we talked about all these changes that are happening, and hopefully they'll happen on the fly. We know that's not something that any of these parks do well, is make change on the fly.
That's not just Disney, that's everybody.
That's anyone. And that's because they're such big operations. It's hard to make a change overnight with a lot of those. So we are here to help support them through that, and we're excited. I'm happy for cast members and team members and ambassadors and all of those people that are working at these parks and really depend on these parks can start getting back to a more normal way of life for them. So that's exciting for us. But make sure you're staying safe.
Stay safe. Wear a mask. Masks are required. Just wear a mask. It's so easy. And plus, I mean, I'm sure there'll be fancy Disney masks available for purchase, so.
Look at, if you're looking for a Disney mask, shopdisney.com.
They have a bunch of Disney
They
masks.
have a bunch of Disney masks.
Which they said will ship the first few weeks in June. So get on that.
So they'd be there in time.
It's an idea. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we'll see you at Disney on the 11th.
Bye.